Welcome to the Primitive Camping and Bushcraft podcast. I'm your host, Chris Spear. So here, we're going to talk about gear, grit, and the kind of stories you only get around a fire. It's all about learning, adapting, and keeping your faith strong. So whether you're a seasoned outdoorsman or just looking to unplug and reconnect, you're in the right place. So pull up a chair by the fire and let's get into it. All right, welcome back to the podcast, and today we're going to do a little bit different. Well, really, a lot different. So what we're going to do today is we are actually going through the Primitive Camping and Bushcraft group on Facebook, looking at some of the posts that people have placed and put, and we're going to talk about them. And right now we have some pretty good stuff going on, and if you're not a member of the group, Primitive Camping and Bushcraft on Facebook, go ahead and look us up, sign up. I'm pretty sure any of the admin will go ahead and let you on in, and it's no big deal. Come on in, enjoy the camaraderie, and start making some posts, and just join in on the communication, become part of the conversation. So we're going to be ping-ponging back and forth with that in between the book. If you haven't picked up a copy of the book, Primitive Camping and Bushcraft, go ahead, swing on over to your favorite online retailer and pick up a copy of the Primitive Camping and Bushcraft book. And it is still going strong. It is still going strong. I've had some individuals reach out to me and tell me how much they really enjoy the book. So swing by, pick that up, join the group on Facebook. So let's dig right on in. So we got one of our top contributors, Rhett, and he's been here for a while, and he's made a post on here. It says it's been a while since they posted a camping pic. And he's camped a couple of times, just didn't take any pictures. Him and his daughters, they slept out behind the house, and due to the heat wave in Indiana, so they just set up a tarp shelter. And so that really, really right there is the key in summer camping. Hot weather camping is a tarp shelter. And I can't reiterate to you guys enough. I personally, down here in South Mississippi, it's hot, it gets cool in the wintertime. It'll dip down to the 30s, but it doesn't stay that way. It's always like overnight it'll be 30, and then it'll jump back up into the 60s or 80s the next day. And but it's kind of cool at night. You just sleep by the fire, keep yourself warm, and then the rest of the day you're perfectly fine, But for this right here, what he's got is a tarp shelter going on. He's made a setup there with it looks like a modified plow point type shelter. He's run a ridge line from tree to tree, and it looks like he has set up a plow point. And, the plow point is very good coverage, and it really does a real good job. It covers you from the backside and to your sides, and then it allows you to go ahead and have plenty of cover. You can keep that open up towards the fire, where you have the fire coming in there in the winter, and keep warm, reflecting off of the warmth or the heat, reflecting off of both of the sides and the back and the top, and it's all reflecting in one direction to keep you warm. And that is awesome. So, Red, I love the setup that you got there going on. It's pretty cool. It's a little hot, and according to your picture there, you have a very small fire going, and due to the summertime, I'd have a small fire. And then it looks like, let me zoom in on your picture here. It looks like you may have some dog fennel back behind you in the field there growing. And there might be some there. It's hard to tell with this picture, but that's the perfect setup and the perfect place that dog fennel will be growing. So get familiar with some dog fennel, run back out there and get you some, and then rake you some of them coals to the side in the evening time, and just throw the green, wadded up into like a bird's nest, green dog fennel and then throw it on top of the coals, not in the fire, just put it on some coals so it'll sit there and smolder and put off the smell and the heat, and it'll actually help rid of mosquito bugs. It'll get rid of some of the mosquitoes and keep the insects down. But it looked like y'all was doing some little clearing out there. So pretty cool. So let's get back to the rest of the topic there, what he was saying. He used his new cold cracker Bushpot set and his Self-Reliance Outfitters Bedroll cook set to make a chicken Alfredo dinner. Oh, that sounds good. So let's zoom in and take a look at that. Oh, that's pretty cool. All right, so the Bedroll stove, talked about that plenty of times in the book Primitive Camping and Bushcraft, and talked about that a lot. A Bedroll stove and a good pot. I mean, you cannot beat those two items. It's crazy. So, you know, there's a lot of comments in here. You use plenty of bug spray. All right. So we talked about that a little bit. Some campfire smoke and a Thermacell to battle mosquitoes. Now, I'm telling you right now, if you are a avid hunter or anything like that, especially down here in South Mississippi where you're hunting in the swamps, Thermacell is a godsend. Thermacell is the absolute one of the most amazing things ever invented, and when it comes to mosquito control. But it's still, I've hunted where I needed 2 Thermacells because the mosquitoes were so bad. But mosquitoes, golly, man, they drive me nuts. But you know what? Flextail has a couple of little items, and Rhett, you might want to look into this. Flextail has a little lantern. It's called the Tiny Repel or Tiny Lantern Repel or something to that effect. And I'm actually going to be doing a video on it here shortly. And it has 2 pads in there, just like the Thermacell, but it will put off a 30-foot radius of mosquito repellent. Plus, it has a lantern that you can hang into your tent. So it's got a light for your tent or your tarp or your overhang or whatever it is. But at the same time, it actually does mosquito repellent like a Thermacell. And you just put those pads in there and change those pads out. So the kids definitely slept better than Rhett did. And he said that they could sleep on a pile of limestone. So I'm pretty sure they had some stuff on the ground and him sleeping on his back. I could do a full gear list if anyone is interested. It's nothing fancy or high end, but it works. Hey, let me tell you, that's the beauty about gear. If it works, it works. And, you don't have to have high end stuff if your gear works, and that's one thing that I cannot stress enough that with folks, don't worry about the price tag or whatever. It's not a popularity contest. It's about what works for you. If it works for you, you ain't got to worry about what somebody else thinks. We had a couple of other folks in here in the comments with this is talking about how they understand the humidity and how summer's their least favorite time to camp. That's old Chris. And he's bragging on how he had a nice setup there. And then Jody, he was like, man, that's a slick setup, and he can't wait till cooler weather. He said he can't bring himself to camp out in the heat of the summer. A lot of times I can't either. Now, Rhett made another post here as well, saying that he said, I may have already brought this up previously, but why is an 8-foot by 8-foot not a popular size for camping tarps? Why is the 5x7 good for emergency shelter or ultralight fair weather cover? But, personally, I feel like a 10x10 is just a little too big for one person. Well, let's talk about that. And the comments in here, Jeff and Chris and James all commented on this. And Jeff was talking about things to consider. Do you like keeping your gear out of the rain? And, what if the rain's blowing sideways type deal? So that's good things, good things to talk about because, I use the 3x3, which is 3 meters by 3 meters or 10 foot by 10 foot, basically. And, it is amazing. It does great. It does everything I need, and it folds up real nice. It's real lightweight. It's a very good tarp. The DD 3x3. Now, I have just recently learned that Double D makes a 4x4 tarp, 4 meters by 4 meters. So that'd be what, 12 by 12 foot by 12 foot? And those, I'm thinking about getting one of those, because here's the reason why. And I agree with Jeff on this comment, that it helps you keep all your gear under the cover as well. Because when you're going camping, a lot of times it's not just yourself that you're trying to keep protected. It's just somebody else with you, or you brought a big old backpack full of gear that you want to keep out of the rain as well. And if it starts raining, you could lower that down to the ground and keep yourself high and dry, keep yourself from getting soaked and saturated and anything like that. Now, James comments that he has a DD 3x3 and he loves it. It's perfect. He says it's the perfect size. Now, Chris, he answered this the same way I would, that there is no wrong answer. It's whatever you prefer. That, Chris personally, in the fall and winter, he does prefer a 10x10, only because he feels that he can configure it in many different setups and still have plenty of room for him and his pack. And with that said, summer, he could be comfortable in a poncho shelter. Me, here's what I'm going to do. I'm always going to have a tarp overhead, because in South Mississippi, it's going to rain in the drop of an eye, a drop of a hat, in a flash. And you can, 1 second, it is not a single cloud in the sky, and the next second it is thunderstorms and raining, an inch of rain drop on top of you. And whenever you get out there in a situation like that, it's great to have that tarp, because that tarp collects your water, and that's less water that you have to actually filtrate, and you get to really save the filter on your water filtration system. So, which coming up, I got a couple of gravity bags that I'm going to be doing some videos on, be talking about here in the group as well. Now, the next post was by Red again. Now, no wonder why Red is the top contributor. He's asking if anybody would be interested in a 3 foot by 7.5 foot ground sheet, and that he has a piece of vinyl billboard tarp that he's cutting up. So if anybody wanted some of that, let him know. And, it's just, I love the people in this group. There's 7,000 people in this group, but, there's only a few people that actually post or pose questions or do anything about that. James, and he posed a question a few days ago about, what kind of belt knife do you like to use while you're in the woods? Which style of sheath do you prefer? One that dangles so it moves with you, or one that's fixed to your belt? I've always used one that was fixed to my belt for years, until BPS sent me a knife to try out for a video. And I fell in love with that knife, and I really fell in love with the sheath that it came with, because it dangled and it allowed more freedom and flexibility. And the only problem I found with it is the sitting down. I always sat on the knife, but the knife itself is amazing. BPS makes a great knife. Now, I'm telling you right now, my most recent upgrade is a Dirtbound Survival. Mr. Tony Powers, that he's a member of this group, Primitive Camping and Bushcraft, and he makes knives. And I'm telling you right now, this knife is something. I bought the Bobcat from him. It was like $120, something like that. Sent a sheath with it, and he did a real good job on this knife. And I got some videos going to be coming out. I want to show you guys the knife itself, and I want to also be running it through. I want to cut down some trees with it. I want to slice some firewood with it. I want to do some camp stuff with it, just to show you guys how durable these things are. And I told him I was going to be doing some videos on it, help promote it, and do some run it through its paces. So hopefully it holds up. You know, this is Tony. Hopefully it holds up. just to throw that out there, man. So, but yeah, we got tons of more questions and stuff like that. So, you know, we have one individual, Jeff, and one of our rising contributors, he said he had a dilemma where he was asking what would we do. You know, let me pull that post up. It says that he reserved a site at a campground we've been going to for 11 years next week. Only they just experienced an act of God and experienced catastrophe damage in meteorological terms, a microburst. I'm posting this here because we're good. I always plan on camping with the bare minimum, catch, cook, all that we got. An email regarding cancellations and refunds, but the place is 4/5 glampers, and we're not. So would you cancel or would you take a refund? So what would you do in a situation like that? Would you cancel out? Would you refund? What would you do? Would you go? You know, most of the places that you go on 4th of July weekend, believe it or not, everybody thinks 4th of July is camping season, goes out camping, but they always, like he said in there, they're glampers. They're going to go out with their campers, and, you know, I'm talking bumper pull trailers or RVs or, you know, stuff like that, massive tents and everything like that. Now, I'm not going to cut it down. I'm not going to say anything bad or negative about it, because, you know, there's a place and a time for it all, and you don't know the situations. And so where you and I may enjoy going out into the woods by ourselves with gear and just heading out and setting up our camp primitively, the folks that do the campers, they may not like the primitive lifestyle. They may like the taste of the woods or the outdoors, but the comfort of home. You know, that's fine. If that's what they prefer, let them go for it, you know. But, you know, for me, I am all about, I'm going to load some gear in my boat, head out to the woods, you know, in my kayak or my flat bottom, head out into the woods and just camp, you know, set up a spot somewhere, find my firewood, you know, put my firewood, light my firewood, cook my dinners, all that good stuff, you know. So it's different strokes for different folks. And I know we've always heard that term. We've heard that people say that, you know, and it is true. It's like whatever works for one person is not going to work for all. That's why we are called individuals, because each one of us individually like things different. So I'm just not going to put down on the people that are glampers, you know, they like the glamping, because, you know, if that's their way, let them do it. I personally am not going to. So then we had a couple of videos that I posted, and then Wild Bob Hiccup, he posted taking down a dangerous tree or widowmaker in there, and that was back in June, and he was sawing down this tree that could have fell, a dead tree that fell on the camp. And then we got a couple of other stuff. Go all the way back to June 3rd, where, hey, I'm posting topics, taking podcast topics. So, you know, I'm working on a video that should be up, not this coming. So I post a YouTube video every Sunday at 2:00. And I posted one today about the kayaks. You know, Vibe Kayaks are sponsoring me for some videos. and I got a contract with them for the next year to post a video a month. And so I've been posting more than a video a month, honestly. And, because I really enjoy the product. I really enjoy their kayaks. I really enjoy what they're doing. They got some good products. So, but, I got a video coming up in a couple of weeks that I'm working on. I have to reshoot some stuff, but I'm trying to make a fish hook out of a pop top. A pop tab or a Coke can tab or a soda bottle, whatever you want to call it. To us down here in South Mississippi, it's every soft drink is called a Coke. You want a Coke? Yeah. What kind? Sprite, 7-Up. What kind of Coke do you want? That's what we call it. But it is the pull tab that you open the coat with. You see on these videos all the time of people making fish hooks, but you never see anybody actually using that hook to catch a fish. So I made one. I made some plastic stream from a plastic bottle, and I went out and I went fishing. And let me tell you, heads up, spoiler alert on this video. These hooks suck. Excuse my language, but these hooks are horrible. But it can be done. So I wanted to try another simpler hook method like a gorge hook or something like that. And I'm thinking about using a safety pin. You see safety pins coming with different things, and I want to see if I can actually catch a fish with a safety pin too. So I'm going to be doing a lot of different fishing videos throughout the next couple months, stuff like that. But I just be looking for that. That's coming up. And, if you got any ideas or anything that you want to contribute to the group, come on. We'd love to have you. Primitive Camping and Bushcraft. We're right here on Facebook. It's a private group. Go ahead, sign up. Go ahead, and myself or one of the admin will go ahead and let you in. The only time we're not going to let you in is if, we know that you're going to try to sell something in the group. Don't come in and spam us with, hey, this shirt for sale or this, because most of these shirts are just, it's spam anyway. Now, like Tony Powers posting a knife that he makes for the group to see if anybody's interested in a real bushcraft knife. That's different. Me showing you products of different things and that companies send me to make videos for, showing you the product in use in a video, that's different. That's not blatantly just coming out and soliciting for people to buy stuff. So I got a couple of ideas coming up. I want to really concentrate on dental floss, and I've been waiting for months. It's just now to where you can get out on the rivers. Down here, the rivers have been so high. It's crazy. I cannot remember a time when the water was so high for so long. But, it's crazy. Now the water's starting to subside. It's starting to go down a little bit. And it's July. This is great. Usually by July, it's so dry you can walk across the rivers. Yeah, that's what's crazy. And it's just now getting to where it's like unflooded. I have a game cam in the woods, been out there since January, that I haven't been able to get to because it's been so flooded. Crazy. And it's still taking pictures. It has been taking pictures and videos and sending them to me for 6 months. And I'm like, this is crazy. That's the Energizer batteries in that thing. So recently I'm going to be posting some more videos. I wanted to talk about food today in this video, but I decided to take a different route and go about the comments and stuff like that in the Primitive Camping and Bushcraft group. But I recently made a substantial purchase and went ahead and got a freeze dryer. And I'm going to be offering freeze-dried camping meals, and these are home cooked. So a lot of people will be like, I don't know about that. You cooking it at home? No, I'm not cooking it at home. Here's the thing. My wife and I, we do own a restaurant, and that restaurant is licensed in the state of Mississippi to serve food. And because I have that license, I am able to make these packages and operate underneath that license to sell these products throughout the United States. And so the only thing is now is coming up with the recipe. So I have some stuff in the freeze dryer right now. I'm testing out my recipes, and I'll be up at the restaurant cutting and making and preparing and getting everything ready to go for, I'm going to be debuting some. I'm going to be passing some out to a few folks and having them try it out to let me know. Give me your honest feedback. You know, if you want one, let me know. Text me. Get on these comments of this thing in this when I post this into the group or whatever. Let me know what you think. If you want to try one out, let me know. We'll see what we can do. But anyway, this is going to be it's a huge experiment, and I'm not a gambling man, but taking a gamble on this and seeing, because it's something, one, it's always going to have benefit for some reason. For food storage for long term, it's going to have a benefit, and two, it's something I've always wanted to do, and I enjoy doing kind of stuff like that, and I'm really looking forward to actually doing this. So I'm going to be debuting all my stuff in November. I'm going to be doing a street fair at the local street fair here, and I'm going to take that, and that's going to be the kickoff. I'm going to be selling the books, I'm going to be selling the coffee, and I made the new labels and everything for the food. I'm making 3 different versions of that. I'm making a Stroganoff, I'm making a chili mac, and I'm making a breakfast skillet. And I'm going to start off with 3 different things, and then until I can figure something out, or we can come together and I can be steered in the right direction. I know those 3 things are common, and it seems to be the most common. And I don't know if that's because that's the easiest to freeze dry or what, but the thing is, when you get to these mountain houses and all these big bulk meals and stuff like that, you're looking at lots of different ingredients. Mine is just going to be straight up store-bought, home-cooked stuff. And I like the meats and everything's going to be bought locally and, procured locally and put together and cooked in a restaurant and freeze dried and shipped out, and so it's going to be real good quality food, stuff like that. So changing gears a little bit here, we're in Psalms today, and we're in Psalms, 51 and verse 15. And it says, "O Lord, open my lips, and my mouth shall show forth your praise." That reminds me that out of the heart, the mouth speaks. And that was talked in Matthew, where Jesus was talking, and is talking, out of the heart, the mouth speaks. And, it reminds me about this group where we take this group and we all come together with our own ideas and our own experiences and our own thoughts and our own wants and, needs and stuff like that. And we post it here for everybody to see, to everybody to contribute, and for everybody to actually help along, to encourage. And that's what we should all be doing, is helping, encouraging each other, and open my lips. Oh Lord, open my lips, and my mouth shall show forth your praise. And we open our lips and we will praise the Lord. I know that's a little bit different. It's not as thought out as the ones that I've done before. And I'm going to try to start being a little bit more spontaneous with these and, make it more real. And that's the whole name of the game with this whole thing, is being real. You know, when you let the Lord into your heart, he will actually start revealing to you the things that are unreal, and he'll start changing them. You know, that whole psalm that I just read from was actually after David screwed up, and David sinned, and David went in with Bathsheba. You know, and at first in verse 1, he's like, have mercy upon me, O God, you know, according to your loving kindness, according to your multitude of your tender mercies, blot out my transgressions, wash me thoroughly from my iniquity, and cleanse me from my sin. And, you know, he realized he did something wrong, and he was just begging God, please forgive me. Please forgive me. And how many times in our lives have we done that? How many times have we done something that we weren't supposed to, and we know we did something we weren't supposed to, and we cry out to the Lord and say, please forgive me. How many times you've done something against somebody, and you said something harshly to someone, a loved one or something like that, and you said something you regret? How many times have you done that? And then you had to go back and say, oh, so-and-so, please forgive me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And let me tell you, I don't know, we got a lot of men, we got a lot of women in this group, but for a man, a prideful man, it is hard for a man to go back and say, hey, I'm sorry, I screwed up. But, and listen to what I'm saying, but it takes a man to actually go back and say, I'm sorry, please forgive me. So, you know, that one kind of just was out there blowing around in the wind and everything, kind of like this whole series today, this whole episode today. I'm going to be out of town. I'm going to be in North Georgia for this whole week, taking some fatherless boys up there to summer camp. And then next week I'll come back and start doing some more filming and stuff like that. So, you know, go ahead, join the discussion, get involved in the community, and let's start making this a little bit more. I would love to actually focus this podcast around this group and get everybody involved in this group and in this podcast, you know. And I would love to I'm really thinking about getting some of the top contributors to actually set some time aside and get on the podcast with me. And we'll actually hash it out and talk about it and make this Primitive Camping and Bushcraft podcast all about the Primitive Camping and Bushcraft group and about the book, and just go through our skills one on one. So hopefully you enjoyed this today, guys, and I really appreciate you so much, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here doing this. And I thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. God bless you. Thanks for sitting around the fire with me today. If this episode gave you something to think about, if it helped you feel a little bit more prepared, or it even stirred your faith a tiny bit, go ahead and share it with someone else who might need it as well. We don't go camping to run away from life. We come out here to slow down and recharge. So grab another log, throw it on the fire, and remember this: in all your ways, acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path. I'll see you next time. God bless you.